Hello, I'm Grim and welcome back to the latest episode of people asking Grim to build stuff he knows nothing about. Today I'm having a crack at building the Tardis, which is of course from Doctor Who, which, in full disclosure, I've never really watched. I've seen a couple of the black and white episodes from the 1960s, but I've never watched an entire series or watched any of the movies or anything, so I'm definitely not knowledgeable about the series. And I know what some of you are thinking, but Grim, you run a sci-fi review series, how have you not sat down and watched Doctor Who? To which I respond, I know, I agree, I'm sorry, I've tried to watch it a few times, but each time I've been distracted by something more shiny, so if you're a really big Doctor Who fan and you have a series or movie or episode that you think is a good entry point to get into the series, definitely suggest it in the comment section, because at the moment, the franchise is just so vast that from my position of entering into it for the first time, it's really hard to know where to begin. But I digress. Why I make sure to point this out is there's no doubt features or details about the vehicle that I miss out, because I'm basing this build largely on a Google image search, and so I'd like to apologise in advance for any such overseen nuances. However, fortunately, because Doctor Who is such a large pop cultural phenomenon, I am aware, despite not having seen much of it, that it's supposed to spin while flying and travel through time. And while the latter feature might be difficult to achieve, the former one I think I can probably do. One of the 3 people to request this vehicle was, once again, Mega Man, who has suggested I use a similar design to the UFO, which I think is going about it the right way, and is what you've been seeing on the screen as I've been talking. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the 2-tiered system that allows the spinning for this vehicle, because I've already done so in great detail for the UFO video. If you want a more in-depth description of how it works, then watch the UFO video, but in simplest terms, the driver's seat is in the centre, and the rest of the vehicle spins around it. As you might well imagine, scaling down the functionality of the UFO to such a small vehicle required a fairly large amount of fiddling. I understood from the beginning what I had to do to make it work, but I was constantly rearranging parts as it was very easy to put one block in the wrong place, which would result in there being too little room and it not being able to spin. Another one of the people to request the vehicle, Glitch and Gamer, had specifically asked for the vehicle not to be too large, and so I didn't want to just upscale it, and instead focused on trying to get it to work within these confines. Although, I'll tell you what, there was certainly multiple times that I did find myself wishing that this TARDIS was indeed larger on the inside, because I could have really done with the extra room. However, once those mechanics were sorted, the vehicle was already looking a lot like a phone booth. I mean, really they're just large rectangles, so that shouldn't be too surprising, but a fresh coat of blue paint and it was looking at least relatively TARDIS-like. Except the windows, which looked like utter garbage, so I wanted to add a bit more of a third dimension to them rather than looking like they're painted on, which they were, but we didn't want that. This took a lot of extra fiddling, and I wanted to add lights in there as well so they glowed a bit, but that didn't end up working out, so what we got in the end was a bit better than what it was, but still definitely not excellent. In the end, much like Mario's Odyssey and Tails Biplane, I'm sure that fans of the franchise can see many things that need to be improved, which is good because when I stop talking in a moment, we're gonna have the layer by layer and you'll have a chance to do so. And while my version of the TARDIS, it seems, can only travel in time forwards, at least when it does so spinning.